Hello. Happy Tuesday. Thank you for being here. I'm excited to have you. Hi, Sneha. Thank you for already commenting. I appreciate that. Just in case you're wondering if it matters that you show up here outside of your own benefit, I want you to know it really matters to me. It really does. When I set up the live and I'm waiting to push go and I'm watching and seeing if people are showing up when people show up. It makes me feel really good and happy. And not because I'm like, oh, I'm validated as a practitioner. I'm sure there's some of that because I'm human. Um, but more about like, oh, I'm connecting, I'm helping, I'm doing something good. That really sings to my heart, and I can't do that without you. Like I need you to be here to create that sense of collaboration. I literally can't do it on my own. So you really do matter, and you really really matter to me. So just in case you ever wonder that and you're ever thinking, I don't know, do I want to go, does it even matter if I show up? It does matter. It really matters to me. So thank you. I want to start off just with a little bit of a personal share because I think it's something that could be insightful and useful to you as well. We talk a lot about trauma and triggers, and I feel like the conversation of that tends to go towards the obvious, right? If you've got a trauma with physical violence and someone starts to become aggressive in your presence, then that's going to be triggering. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. But one thing that isn't thought of or talked about as much are the aspects of a trauma that can occur that can also serve as a trigger to create more of a subconscious or just not as clear trauma response that then might be a little confusing. Why is this happening? I've been experiencing that. And I didn't think about it because there's certain times of year that I'm like, okay, this date, where I kind of expect, to have a reminder or a memory of something. But this past week, I've been like, man, I'm not hungry. Why am I not hungry? Why am I not eating? Why do I feel so tired? Why am I, all of these signs of dissociation that were really confusing to me. And then I was watching just a presentation from an expert on trauma, and she happened to mention the aspect of change in weather. And I thought, oh, oh, that makes complete sense to me now because there is something that I'm still mourning that comes up for me. And I've always thought about it at the time of the month that it happens, not the season and the shifts in the weather outside. But it really makes sense just in where this particular memory comes for me and aspects that maybe I haven't tapped on because they were so minimal, at the time. The angle of the sunlight, the shade of the leaves on the trees. But these are things that I remember that possibly are still kind of keeping that moment alive for me. And the change in the weather has triggered that. So, just a correlation to throw out there of, how magnificent our brains are at really collecting and holding on to information. And if you're like, why is this still affecting me? Why is this still here? That could be a solid reason why. And so going into, it's something that we talk about in training, in EFT certification to tap on all of the aspects. But going back and focusing on the fringe aspects, the other little things can be a key to releasing something that feels sticky, that just seems to continually come up for you. So I hope that little tidbit is helpful for you, like it was for me. Hi, Jackie. It's good to have you here. I love you. I've known Jackie. She's one of the people I've known the longest in my life that isn't a family member. We go way back. Hi, Heather. I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome from Tennessee. Um, I don't have any emails. If you sent me something and I just haven't gotten to it yet, I'm so sorry. I am a little bit behind, partly just because of where, my own head has been and not realizing what was happening with my own dissociation. Now I'm more on top of it because I caught on. Um, but also we're in the middle of certification. This is the time of year, one of the two times that we are crazy busy at EFTU, because we are in the process of getting all of our new students set up and enrolling everyone who is jumping in. So, and I'm pretty heavily involved in that. So I might be a little behind on my emails this month, but I swear I'll catch back up in November and we'll be good again until April. So, so go ahead and put in the chat what it is that you would like to tap on today. And we'll do a minute of centering. I see a few comments. I'm going to read them. I was like, oh, Carla, you were at the 4-day. That's wonderful. Dawson is such a gifted teacher. I absolutely love attending his virtual and his, in-person workshops. It's just, he's so joyful to learn from. Hi, Denise. Hi, Carmen. Oh, I'm so first time. Yay. Hi, Susan. Thank you for kicking that off and putting something in here. All right. I'm going to focus on centering. So let's start breathing. Taking as deep of a breath as feels comfortable to you right now, and just letting your body sink and just relax. Just really give that signal of this is a bit of downtime right now. You don't have to be on alert. You don't have to be anything other than just right here. Let's breathe in and out. And if you keep your eyes open, you notice I don't drop my head all the way forward. That's uncomfortable for me. That actually triggers my anxiety. So I don't let my head fall forward, but I let everything else fall forward. So really, truly, to your comfort level, relax. We'll do one more breath. Okay, and let's go ahead and set our intentions for today. I'm going to place my hands over my heart. I've got my eyes closed. Feel free to close your eyes. Let's take a moment and acknowledge that even though we are across the world in all different places and time zones and cultures and ages and professions, that we are connected here today, and we're connected in purpose and in meaning, and that's powerful, and that the energy behind that is real, and that it's real that we get to connect together right here, and it's real that we really have support from each other, and it's real that we have a community, and that this is meaningful to everyone who's here, that we're all leaning in together. There's true power in that. Let's set the intention of that this is going to be a good tapping session, and that we're going to get breakthroughs, and we're going to get insights. We're going to get relief and freedom and peace and steps forward. We're going to get permissions. We're going to get maybe some giggles, maybe some yawning, maybe some crying, whatever that looks like. And it's all beautiful. And that even if we don't tap on a specific issue that's right in front of you now, that whatever comes up for today is going to be helpful, and it is going to feed that space that you're looking to be fed in today. Okay, so go ahead and open your eyes. Stretch, take one more breath if you need to. And let's start tapping. I'm going to glance over and see what everyone has written. And we have here, Susan has asked for betrayal and abandonment, to really big things that can lead to a lot of beliefs about yourself. Oh, thank you so much for sharing this live with your community. Hello to everybody. Thank you for joining us through Soul Flow. That's wonderful. Thank you for that. Okay, tapping on pneumonia, so some physical stuff. Okay. I realized because of you, one of the reasons I kept sabotaging. I don't want to make my parents wrong. Oh, Carla. Whoo! We could start a club. That's a huge one for me. I can't tell you how many things were wrapped around I didn't want to make my parents wrong. So yes, yes, yes. Can't find the tapping where you address that issue. Well, maybe we'll tap on it today, and maybe I'll make a video on it. I will look for it and post it in this as well, if I can, but let's move it forward. Hi, Kylie. Go ahead and tap. Even though we're not doing anything specific right now, we're still addressing the subconscious brain. Um, Difficult to stay positive. Okay, not descend into negativity. Stuart, you are not alone. That's so normal. That's so common, and that's a signal from the subconscious brain. So, um, yeah, definitely address that too. Childhood neglect, how it relates to present life, the fear of not healing. Okay, you've tried everything and feel like a failure. Katie, I'm with you. I had chronic fatigue syndrome for 17 years and felt absolutely insane. Lots behind that as well. I hear you. So I'm hearing some physical things coming up, and some bigger, maybe one-offs or multiple occasions that then have led to a belief about oneself. So I'm going to go back up here to Susan and betrayal and abandonment. We're going to go at this from a childhood angle, even if yours wasn't specifically back in childhood, Susan. Feel free to shift any words that I say that don't fit. But I'm seeing a lot of childhood issues coming up. So it's going to be helpful to start from there. Thinking for a second. So I'm gonna portray betrayal as a type of abandonment, right? Because when we're betrayed, that is someone breaking a promise, that is someone breaking an expectation, an agreement of some kind. You're supposed to be there for me. You said you wouldn't say anything. You promised that you wouldn't give up. Whatever that is, it's a betrayal is you left me on my own, and I now it's whatever, it's ended, it's now this has happened, whatever the outcome to that is, but it's the other person not following through or doing something different than what was agreed on. So we're going to go with abandonment. And again, if you have a stronger word, a better word for you, please substitute that in. So take a moment, and even if the word feels uncomfortable and you need to kind of separate it out from yourself, you can put it on like a movie screen, like you're watching your life. You don't have to go deep into your own self. If you want to project it out, that works. And when you think of the word abandonment, what's the earliest time that pops up for you? And if you think, oh, it's behind a wall, I don't remember anything from, that young an age, that's okay. You can put up what feelings come up for you, even if it's blank. A blank is a great place to start, believe it or not, because that's still your brain saying, here's a placeholder. And as you see this time where abandonment comes up for you, pay attention to your response. What do you hear in your head? What does this mean about you that you experienced this abandonment? Even though, due to this abandonment in my life, I experienced all of these other things, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though, because of this experience of abandonment, I now believe these other things to be true, I deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Even though this experience of abandonment that happened a long time ago is still very much affecting me today, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself. I accept myself in this abandonment. I accept myself in the outcome. I acknowledge the emotions that have come along with it. I acknowledge the snowball effect in my life that it's caused. I'm aware that it's unhealthy, that this is where it is for me right now. But it's where I am. And it's okay for me to be where I am. It doesn't mean I have to stay here. It doesn't mean that this will always be my life. But I am accepting right now. This is where I am. This is where I am with this. And it's okay. It's okay that this is the best I could do. The best I could fix it. The best I could run away from it. The best I could heal it. The best I could create myself in dealing with this. Even though I'm not where I want to be, I deeply and completely accept everything that I've done to get to this point. And I accept my efforts to get here. This abandonment, my beliefs about being abandoned, the things that feel so true because I was abandoned. This abandonment, my defenses that I've built up because of it. My walls, my fortresses, my mistrust, the way I might quiet myself, not share myself, not open up, my choices that I have made because of this abandonment. This abandonment. This abandonment that happened a long time ago, but it still lives in me. This abandonment. I forgive myself for allowing this to have a place to live inside of me. And maybe I'll get a resolution for this abandonment. And maybe I won't. Maybe it will remain an open wound for the rest of my life. But even if that ends up being true, I still deeply and completely accept myself. Because I have the right. I have the right to be imperfect. I have the right to be human. I have the right to be lovable, even if someone at some time in my life saw me as worthy of leaving, saw me as worthy of abandoning. That does not have to be my definition And it's not my responsibility to prove them wrong. And even if I have felt like it is my responsibility to prove them wrong, I deeply and completely accept myself. But what if I didn't? What if I didn't have to? What if it could just be their opinion? It can't just be their opinion. No way. I can't accept that. That's not acceptable. This has to be resolved. I have to feel loved. I have to feel accepted. I have to be nurtured and cared for. This has to be corrected, or else. Or else what? Or else I choose for it to be painful? Yeah, because it is painful. It's really painful. And to feel these feelings that I felt for this long is painful. And someone needs to know that, and they need to know how hurtful it's been and how painful it feels and how much it still affects me, and it's all their fault, and they shouldn't have done that, and shame on them, and they need to fix it. They need to fix it and make it better, and that's the only way this is ever going to be better. Even if I believe that the only way this will ever be better is if the other person fixes it, I deeply and completely accept myself. It's okay for me to want that. It's okay for me to want to be shown that I'm acceptable and lovable. It's okay for me to want to be shown that someone's sad about hurting me. It's okay for me to want to feel connection from this person. And I deeply and completely accept and recognize any and all of those feelings. And since I have complete mind control over this person, I shall make them do it now with my mind power. Because that's possible. Because this is how this sort of thing typically works out, is that one person makes the other person feel differently against their will. Why would feeling differently be against their will? What would they have against me feeling better? What would that even mean to them? Maybe it's important and maybe it's not. But the fact is, that's their issue. That really doesn't have anything to do with me. This abandonment, my abandonment, their abandonment, my emotions, my decisions, their decisions affected me. Absolutely. Of course they did. And I tried to make it understandable or explainable or okay, or at least have some kind of closure in my mind. And I did the best I could with that. And maybe I still need some of that. Maybe I don't. Whether or not I still need closure, I can deeply and completely accept myself right now because those two things aren't related. Understanding what happened may take some time, but I can understand my own value right now. And it's okay for me to accept that I am lovable and I am enough, and that there are people who want to stay connected with me, and not everything is the same. And I don't have to disprove this one experience before I can accept all of these other things. Because relationships are messy and people are confusing and everyone's dealing with stuff. Figuring all of that out may or may not ever happen. It's likely going to take some time. But I can accept right now that this perception that I've had about this experience was a little skewed. And maybe it's not so much about me. Maybe it's more about them. But what part of it is about me? My emotions, my beliefs. But just like I can't control what they feel, it's not up to them to decide how I feel. So, what do I want to feel? What is it that I would like to feel? I would like to know that. Go ahead and say whatever came up for you, that I'm worthy, that I'm loved, that I'm lovable, that I'm capable. I would like to know those things. And maybe it's something easy that I can know pretty quickly. Or maybe it's something that might take some time for me to trust, for me to believe. However, that works out is okay. It's okay if it takes a while. It's okay if it comes in layers. It's okay if it bounces back and forth. Because all of this is a relationship, and it's learning a skill. And I can do that. I have the ability to do that. And as I adopt this skill, this belief, I give myself permission to feel all the feelings that come with it, even the ones that are confusing, because all of it's communication. And I commit to building this relationship with myself so that I can know beyond any doubt that I am worthy, that I am lovable, so that I can know that for myself. And I still may get affected by the choices of others, and that's okay. I'm human. It's okay for me to have emotions about my experiences. But maybe it's also okay for me to always be able to come back to myself and say, but hey, remember, we discovered you're worthy. We discovered you're lovable. And that's something that I can always hold on to, no matter what. And as I allow myself to lay this foundation and build this relationship, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay, breathe. So many beliefs that happen as children. Going back and using simple words and acknowledgement can really go a long way. So I hope that was helpful. Let me know. I'm going to review what we've got in here. Yes, body issues. Okay. We'll switch and do physical next. So to start picturing something that you've got going on that's affecting you physically. It can be an emotional thing that's showing up to you physically. Like for me, I was talking about how I've got emotional stuff going on, and no desire to eat, even though I know that I should. That's something that you can tap on. Okay. Um, Pneumonia and fear of not healing are the ones. Okay. Sports injuries. Um, okay, good. I'm glad that was helpful to a bunch of you. Um, so take just a moment, and if you say the phrase or think the phrase, my body's not enough, what did you immediately think of? Where is your body not enough? How is it not enough? Is it not strong enough? Is it not healed enough? Is it not young enough? Is it not beautiful enough? How is it not enough? And if you just went, yep, covered, like all of it, all of it, I feel ya. Um, and it's okay to start big, seeing your body as one singular issue. But I would say if you're going to do that, then look at your body in the way of like a relationship. Like you and your body are at war um, at the beginning. But we'll adjust that as we go. But how is your body not enough? In what way is your body failing you? Okay, and that's the way we're going to address this. I'm not well enough. My immune system isn't strong enough. Now I've got pneumonia. I've got injuries. Um, I've got to have surgery. All of these things. And with that hot mess, let's start tapping. Even though right now my experience is that my body is not enough, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though right now my body is not enough, and I really have some strong feelings about that, I deeply and completely accept myself anyway. Even if I don't feel like it, even if saying I accept myself right now kind of makes me angry, I deeply and completely accept myself with all of that. And even though these body issues are really in my way, I still choose right now, at this moment, to deeply and completely accept myself. And screw that. No, I don't accept this. Are you kidding me? These issues, I'm done. I'm so done. I am absolutely through with trying to collaborate with my body, figure out emotionally, figure out physically what's lacking, taking vitamins, taking supplements, doing exercises that I don't want to do, going to doctors that aren't able to give me any straight answers. I'm just done. I'm so done. This feels like a one-sided conversation. This feels like a one-sided relationship where I have been giving and giving and giving, just trying to get a baseline of health back. And I don't get it. My body refuses to be enough for me. Why? That hurts my feelings. And even if that sounds silly, even to myself as I say it out loud, it's true. It hurts my feelings when my body's not enough. I have so much on my plate. I need the partnership of a healthy body so that I can do what I have to do. And my body won't meet me there. And there's nothing I can do about it, nothing that I know to do about it. I just have to put up with it. It's one more thing, one more step back that now I have to figure that out too. So there's a lot behind this. It's not just my body's physicality, but I'm dependent on my body being what I need it to be so that I can be who I need to be. And it hurts my feelings when I don't get to do that. So even though when my body's not enough, it deeply affects me emotionally. And even if I don't want to say it right now, I commit to deeply and completely accepting myself anyway. Because accepting myself doesn't mean quitting. But do you know what it does mean? It probably means a change. It probably means a shift. A shift is what I need right now. I'm not getting the shift that I want. My body's not shifting to give me the outcome to be enough. I guess I'm open to other options. I guess I'm open to the possibility of there being something else. But what if I'm not? What if I'm holding it against my body? What if there's a part of me that's saying, shame on you? Shame on you, body, for not being enough. There's a bit of a punishment there. If there is, I acknowledge it. I don't ever have to tell anybody else about it, but I'll acknowledge it to myself. And I release any judgments associated with that. It's okay for me to feel frustrated about not being able to do what I want to or what I truly need to. It's okay for me to get angry at the things that are in my way, which right now looks like my body. My body's in my way. Of course, I'm frustrated. Of course, it makes me angry. Of course, I would like a way to release this anger. So I decide to be angry at my body, angry at this aspect of my body. It may not be logical, but it's okay if my feelings aren't logical. It's okay for me to have my feelings. And as I acknowledge those, I give them permission to release and go. My healing isn't there. So I'll set that down. Okay. Well, what else? Even if I'm not upset about it or angry about it or sad about it or hurt by it, my body's still not enough. It's still in my way. Even though my body is still in my way, I deeply and completely accept myself. Well, but there are all of these uplifting stories of people who overcome way greater odds and difficulties than what I have. I mean, if they can overcome that, then I should be able to overcome this, right? I don't want to have to overcome this. That's beautiful and perfect for those really inspiring people to have done. I really don't want that to be my roadmap. That sounds exhausting and really difficult. And like it would take up a lot of my time. And it's not where I want to spend my time. I really want to do what I want to do. And I really need my body to be on board with that. Doing what I want to do, needing my body for what I want to do. Well, I might get that choice. I might get that opportunity. Bodies heal all the time, sometimes miraculously. That could be me. It could also not be me. And maybe my body doesn't change. Then what? Then I don't get to do what I want. And even if that's how I feel and that's what I believe for the whole rest of my life, and I never adopt another perspective, I deeply and completely accept myself. It's my right to want this, and it's okay if I want this, and it's okay if I'm stubborn about it. And if I choose to allow this to stop me, I can. And I will own it, and I will acknowledge it. That feels unfair. I'm not trying to stop myself. I'm not trying to use this as an excuse. I want to heal and I want to do all these things, these really good things that I want to accomplish. But, and what is the but? But I can't, but I'm not supported, but I don't have the network, but I don't have the knowledge. What if what's truly stopping me are those beliefs rather than my body? Oh, my body's in the way. When my body's not enough, it truly creates hardships. It's difficult. And it's okay for me to acknowledge that. But what if it's not stopping me? What if something else is? And what if it's these beliefs? I wonder what would happen if I released those beliefs. I can. I can release those beliefs. I'm capable of that. And it doesn't matter how much better my body is or isn't for me to do that. Those two things are completely separate. So if I did release those, what would happen? If I released I can't, I don't have the support, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy. Ooh, ooh, even just saying those feel really heavy and they feel really stressful. So if I didn't have them, I would probably feel more light and I would probably be less stressed. It's not the answer I want. The answer I want is for my body to just heal. I just want my body to be enough. But while I'm waiting for that or looking for that or working towards that, maybe I could help it out a little. Maybe I can help it out a little by relieving this stress. Maybe I can help it out by letting go of beliefs that are in my way, or I'll see something new. Or at the very least, maybe I can stop focusing on all the really heavy stuff so much and give myself permission to just relax. This journey with my body, this journey that I'm on with my body, it may take some time or it may be over quickly. However long it takes, there are things that I can do that will feel better. And whatever outcome I receive, there are things I do have control over. And as I explore these options and find what feels good to me to step into, I deeply and completely accept myself. Okay. How was that? Good? How are your bodies feeling? Check back in when you say, my body's not enough. What do you feel? Did it kind of just bounce off of you? Like that's not a thing. Like that's not the focus. Like that's the wrong question. Is it like that? Or if you think back to that specific thing, is it less? Is it less in your way? Did you have a different thought? My body's not enough. Oh, but I can do this. How did that work out for you? Let me know. Okay, I am going to take a gander and see what we're going to tie this one up with here. I love you too, Kylie. I'm just seeing in here you said love you. Oh, that's right. Okay, so Carla, don't want to make your parents wrong. So even if you don't have a good relationship with your parents, when you're a child, that's very different circumstance and psychology. This is a bit random to bring up today, but I feel like this is a really good one to tap on. So we're going to spend a little bit of time on it. Um, well, I guess it's not really random because there's a lot about childhood stuff coming up. Um, when your survival depends on someone else and you have no chance of being safe on your own, the trust, the not coordination brain, what is it? Collaboration that has to happen between you and that person is very different than when you're independent and maybe you want collaboration and you're not getting it and that makes you unhappy. When your survival depends on it, you have to make it work in whatever way that looks like. And the fear of your parents being wrong is is big for a kid, because what happens when you're wrong as a child, right? It's one of the worst things ever. It can be spun from protection of your parents. You don't want them to be wrong. You don't want their feelings to be hurt. Maybe deep down, you're like, oh, they were so wrong. Like, what an awful, terrible thing that was applied to me. Like, wow, that's bad. Um, and that makes you feel certain guilt. That makes you feel like you're not appreciative of what you had. There's so many ways that this can tie into allowing yourself to grow and be giving yourself permission to be who you are. um, I grew up with a lot of fear. There was just a lot of forward-facing fear. Anytime you approach something new, there was a lot of fear there. All of the things that could go wrong, were brought up. My dad is, a war veteran, but in his opinion, he doesn't have PTSD, and he's one of the lucky ones that none of it ever manifested, but, anytime our front door was unlocked and we lived in a rural place, um, where we knew all of our neighbors, and our driveway was long and we were up on top of a hill, very, very, very slim chance of any kind of tomfoolery, much less crime. But if he walked by the front door and it was left unlocked, just, "Who left this front door unlocked? Do you wanna get murdered?" Really just lost it. So changing that construct in my mind and having compassion for my dad about where he was coming from can be really tricky to unwind, but it keeps me small. It keeps me trapped in that fear, right? So it can be tricky to unwind. And now I've talked a lot. We need to get to tapping. But that's where that's coming from. That's why I'm saying this is an important thing to address, even if you're like, what? That's not like I've never even thought that. Um, so let's dive into it for just a few minutes, okay? Go with me on this. Even though I don't want my parents to be wrong, even if they were wrong, I don't want them to be wrong. I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though there are ways I am holding myself back to the point of things even being hurtful for me, just so that my parents aren't wrong, I deeply and completely accept myself. Even though I am so confused about why it matters to me that my parents aren't wrong, I still choose to deeply and completely accept myself anyway. My childhood, my parents, my parents as people, my parents being wrong, my parents being right. Whether or not my parents were wrong or right, I deeply and completely accept myself. I'm not sure this is safe for me to talk about or look into. I'm not sure this is something that I want to look at even on my own. And it's okay if I don't. So let's set that aside and all of the messiness and all the heaviness and all of the memories and all of the questions and the thoughts. What can I look at? What can I look at in this that's going to make the biggest impact for me? Because I was affected when my parents made decisions. So what if those decisions that affected me in a negative way, whether they intended it or not, whether they were doing their absolute best or they were really being sucky parents, what if I was able to tell my brain something different? Now, I know logically I can't change it, I can't fix it, but subconsciously I can because the reason it still hurts is that my subconscious is still afraid of that pain. So I wonder how I can remove that when it happened so long ago. How do I tell my brain we're okay now if it happened so long ago? Well, I can imagine it and I can make it whatever I want. I could have a magic wand and I could just magic away the feelings. Maybe I could go back in time and I can tell myself what I needed and I can give myself what I needed. I can do that. Or maybe I'll just go grab my younger self and just bring him into today and I'll say, "Hey, check this out. Look at where we ended up. Isn't this cool? This is our house. Look at these treats. These are our treats. We bought them. We can eat all of them." Whatever it is, that will let my brain know that I acknowledge it. And I acknowledge that pain, that fear, that anger, all of these confusing emotions for a child to process that I have some skill in now. I can bridge that gap. And it may take some creativity, and that's okay. It's okay for me to be creative. The subconscious brain loves creativity. It's a great way to fix things. And I give myself permission to fix what my parents couldn't. I give myself permission to release these stories and these filters of my past. I acknowledge my parents are people, and whether they were the parents that I wanted or they fell short of that expectation. What's still alive isn't that, it's my feelings. And the good news is, those are my feelings. So I can completely do everything to resolve that. And I'm not dependent on my parents anymore for that to feel better. Even if at the time I was, I'm not now. And me acknowledging that they made mistakes and that they were wrong doesn't mean anything other than they made mistakes and sometimes they were wrong. They can still be lovely. They can still have tried their best. Whatever feelings I have or don't have about my parents really don't apply here, because I'm not working on how to judge them. I'm working on not feeling hurt anymore, because I'm really ready to no longer feel hurt. And all these little parts of me as a child is really ready to not be hurt anymore either. And I did my best back then, but I can do better now. I know a little bit more now. So I give myself permission to use that and to lean into that. It doesn't have to be anything more than that. I'm ready to be happy. I'm ready for younger me to be happy. And as I commit to allowing myself to be happy, it feels good. And maybe I'm getting ideas on how to make that happen. It's another skill. And it's a skill that I'll use dozens of times because I had dozens of instances in my childhood that could have been better. And that's okay. Because maybe, just maybe, this skill is going to be kind of fun. Whatever it looks like, I acknowledge that my focus is on releasing my own hurt. And it's okay for me to separate that from however I feel about my parents. And as I step into this journey, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay, breathe in. That felt good. How was that for you in thinking about pretty vague circumstances? Typically we like to be a lot more pointed with EFT, but setting a baseline, setting a foundation, it's okay to begin somewhere more vague like that. In fact, that's even kind of a flavor of one of the gentle techniques where you don't focus on specifics at first. You tone it down first, and then you dive in. So I hope that today's been wonderful for you. I really appreciate you being here with me. I look forward to seeing you next week, and I'll be thinking about you and carrying you with me. If you want to send me an email, if you want to suggest something that you just don't want it to be live in front of everyone, I'm happy to keep you anonymous. My email is amanda@eftuniverse.com. I'm here every Tuesday at 1 p.m. on this channel, which is just EFT Universe. I love you and I care about you. And thank you again for being here. And I'll see you next week. Mwah.